You know exactly what you should do. The email you need to send. The workout you keep skipping. The relationship you know you should leave. Or the one you know you should finally commit to. The business idea sitting in your notes app for 2 years untouched. You know, and you still don't do it. And here's the part that makes it strange. It's not that you don't know how. It's not that you lack the talent or the time or even the opportunity. Somehow, right at the moment things are about to go well, something inside you pulls the plug. This isn't laziness. This isn't a lack of discipline. There's a name for this, a real, documented psychological pattern. And once you understand what's actually happening in your brain when this happens, you'll never see your own behavior the same way again. Self-sabotage doesn't look like failure from the outside. It looks like almost succeeding, over and over again. The person who studies for weeks and then doesn't show up to the exam. The person who finally gets the interview and shows up late. The person who meets someone genuinely good for them and finds a reason to push them away just as things start to feel real. The entrepreneur who builds the entire business plan, gets the funding meeting, and then cancels at the last minute with a vague excuse. Here's what makes this so confusing. These aren't unintelligent people. Often, they're the opposite. They can see the pattern, sometimes while it's happening in real time. They can name it. They can even predict it before it happens. And they still can't seem to stop doing it. So why would a smart, self-aware person keep sabotaging their own success, over and over? The answer isn't about willpower. It isn't about motivation, or discipline, or wanting it badly enough. The answer is about safety. And to understand that, we have to look at what your brain is actually optimizing for, because it's not what you think. Your brain's #1 job was never happiness. It was never success or fulfillment or becoming the best version of yourself. Its #1 job, the one it's been doing since long before any of those concepts existed, is keeping you alive. And to a brain wired for survival, alive doesn't mean thriving. It means predictable. When you're on the edge of something new, a level of success you've never had, a relationship healthier than anything you've experienced, a version of your life you've never actually lived in, your brain doesn't see opportunity the way you consciously do. It sees the unknown. And the unknown, to a brain that evolved in an environment where unfamiliar things could genuinely kill you, looks a lot like danger, even when, rationally, you know it isn't. This is called the familiarity principle in psychology. We are drawn to what's familiar, even when what's familiar is painful, because familiar pain feels more survivable than unfamiliar uncertainty. A bad relationship you understand the rules of can feel safer than a good one whose rules you've never learned. A mediocre job you've mastered can feel safer than a great opportunity where you might fail in front of people. So self-sabotage in this light isn't your brain working against you. It's your brain doing exactly what it evolved to do millions of years ago, protecting you from a future it cannot predict or control, even when that future is objectively better than where you are now. But there's a second piece to this, one that goes even deeper than fear of the unknown, and it's even harder to admit out loud. For a lot of people, success and self-image are in direct, quiet conflict, one that never gets spoken out loud because most people don't even realize it's happening. If you grew up being told directly or indirectly that you weren't capable, weren't talented, weren't going to amount to much, and then real success actually starts happening in your life, something strange occurs internally. The success doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel like the natural result of effort. It feels like an error, like a mistake that's about to be corrected, like the universe will eventually notice and take it back. Psychologists call this identity protection. Your subconscious mind will actually work quietly and persistently to bring your external reality back in line with your internal belief about who you are. If you believe, deep down, in a place below conscious thought, that you're not someone who succeeds, then success itself becomes the threat. Not because you don't want it, but because you believe, on some level, that eventually you'll be found out as someone who didn't really deserve it. So you sabotage, not because you want to fail, not because failure feels good, but because failing feels more true to your existing identity than succeeding does. Your brain will choose a painful truth over an unfamiliar success almost every time, because pain that confirms what you already believe is somehow easier to process than success that contradicts it. This is why some of the most capable people you know seem stuck at the exact same level for years, sometimes for their entire lives. It's not a skill ceiling, it's not a talent ceiling, it's an identity ceiling. And identity ceilings are invisible, which is exactly what makes them so hard to break through. Here's what self-sabotage actually looks like in everyday life, broken down into patterns you've probably seen in yourself or someone close to you. Procrastinating on something important until there's no time left to do it well, so if it fails, you can blame the timing, not your ability. This way, you never have to find out what would have happened if you'd actually tried your best. Picking fights right when things are going well in a relationship. Things feel too good, too unfamiliar, and some part of you manufactures conflict just to bring the situation back to something more recognizable. Quitting right before the hard part, the part where real growth and real risk of visible failure actually happen. Quitting early means you never have to find out if you were good enough, and not knowing, strangely, feels safer than knowing and being wrong. Setting goals so big they're functionally impossible, guaranteeing failure before you even start. This way, failing doesn't say anything about your actual ability, since nobody could have hit that goal anyway. And one of the quietest forms, deflecting compliments or success the moment it happens, immediately downplaying it, almost as if accepting it fully would make the eventual fall feel even worse. Each of these patterns gives you something subtle but powerful, an excuse, a way to fail on your own terms, fully in your control, instead of risking failing on the world's terms, completely out of your control.